Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Back to School Confab. I am so excited to be hosting you all today and our guest. My name is Precious James Obona, and this is the Back to School Confab. And we have a very amazing guest here today. Our first speaker on the Back to School Confab. Her name is Mrs. Chidinma Obele Martins. Hello, Ma.
I'm
How are
fine, thank
you?
you. Thank you for having me.
We're really excited to have you
Thank
here. You're welcome. How's your day? Let's start from there. How's your day, Ma?
It's been a cold day, but we're here.
Wow. And how is everyone? How's the family?
Family is doing good. Everyone is fine, and I'm trying to support mommy.
That's awesome.
Not disturbing her.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome. All right, so before we get right into the discussion on how to help children adjust to schooling in a pandemic, I would love to do a little introduction of the Parent of Africa community. So, guys, if you're joining us, I would love you to leave your comment, introduce yourself. I'd love us to engage. And if you have not joined the Parent of Africa community, what are you waiting for? I would love you to hit the link on this post and join us. Join a tribe, join a community where you have premium parenting resources. And we have the first person join us. Hello. Would love to see you. Would love to hear from you. Would love you to introduce yourself. We want this session to be engaging. Okay. So let's get right into our conversation. Our kids are going back to school, Mrs. Chidinma, after 6 months, almost 6 months of being outside school, apart from remote learning. Do you think there is a need for them to ease back to the school life and the school routine?
Of course, of course. It's been over 5 months of not being within the school walls. Okay, so definitely a lot of gone, you must have gone through a lot of changes between March 20th and now. So of course
Yeah,
yeah, it's very necessary to have this. So I must appreciate you for bringing this up. This is very timely. Um,
thank
a lot is
you.
going on in the minds of parents. So this is very, very timely. So there is a
That's
need.
awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so you just said that there is a need for them to be eased back into the whole school routine. Now it's very special. Back to school season for every time is quite demanding on parents because they've been the kids have been at home. And I said something yesterday that having children in school gives some form of routine to the family because the kids wake up in the morning, they go to school, you're not at home. Nobody is telling mommy I want to eat biscuit. And I saw this joke that children eat about 10 times when they're at home, right? So
Yeah.
back to school is always a strenuous time for parents. But right now they are going back to school in a pandemic. So that is why we've organized the back to school confab on how parents can ease back to the routine so there are no hassles and there are no hitches. So let's go straight to our discussion. How can parents help children adjust back to the routine?
Okay. Um, First of all, when I had to ask myself this question again, and then I answered myself with another question, and I was like, what have parents been doing during the lockdown? Okay, since schools were shut down,
Okay.
what were they doing? How have they been engaging the children? March, April, May, June, July, August, now September. Okay, when you're able to answer that, because I know some parents have been doing something, and then some of them have just been, moved with the anxiety and stress of the pandemic. So they are really confused. Like, what should I do? What next? And everything.
Yeah.
So now that it's setting that at least before the end of this month they'll be going back to school, we should at least start putting
Yeah.
things is to ensure that they have a smooth transition from home to school. Now, I must commend parents who have been homeschooling. I must commend parents who have been supervising their children online. And I must also commend parents who, despite the fact that they don't have a, because it cuts across, okay? We have
Yeah.
all over the world, and then this pandemic made the inequality very obvious. We have children whose learning did not stop for a second, okay? And then we
Yeah.
have children who had to,
Absolutely.
yeah, go through breaks and all that. So I must commend every parent, whichever sector you find yourself, I must
Strata.
commend you.
Uh,
How do you help? How do you
yeah.
help your child? First of all, before you help your child, you have to acknowledge the effects this pandemic has had on the child. Okay, they've been anxious, they've been stressed, they've been inquisitive. When is this going to end? When am I going to see my friends? When am I going to see my teacher? Okay,
Yeah.
then so appreciated the fact that they have more time to themselves to sleep, longer hours to play, to watch
Yeah.
TV, watch the cartoon. Most times we even deliberately send them to the cartoon just to have some space to ourselves, okay? So these are
Good
the effects
things.
and everything. Now, the effects on schooling, now that the pandemic is still on and we have to go back to school, we are going to have reduced school hours. We are going to have short lesson periods now. They are going to be having new teachers, not necessarily because of the pandemic, but because they're going to new classes, you know, they're going to be seeing new faces. Then there's going to be less time for social
Yeah.
interaction due to social distancing, you understand? So these are the effects, and parents should
Distances.
consider, they know what to do to help them to, you know, adjust and get back smoothly. First of all, I'll say have an open conversation with your child or with the children, okay? Talk to them. Um, Age appropriate discussion, considering,
Okay, so before I continue,
okay?
before you continue, Ma, all right, you said something that parents need to acknowledge the effect of not being in school for a long time and the effects of the pandemic. Now, I know a lot of people don't know that children really observe things, right? Especially when they are younger. We think that they don't know what is happening. So, have this pandemic really had any effect psychologically, mentally on the children?
Yes, because like you mentioned, children are natural adjusters. They can adjust to any um, environment naturally. Okay. Now, when a child who started a term at the beginning of January is following a particular routine, okay, you have a bedtime, you have wake up time, you have time to do your clean up, get ready for school, you have a resumption time, you have assembly time, you have circle time, you have break time, you have lunch time in school, and a child is gradually, you know, adjusting to their routine, and it stops abruptly, okay, it's going to have an effect on the child. The child
Yeah,
is like, "Ah, what's happening?" Most of them would voice out, why am I not going to school again? Why are we not learning again? Why can't I see my teacher again? And then you tell them you can't go to school because of the coronavirus, and you educate them on it, and they're like, okay. And the mind of the child is processing that, like, okay, maybe tomorrow the coronavirus is gone. I'm very happy with the kind of awareness we've given this pandemic, the kind of animations we've had for the adverts as well. So they're like, ah, when can I actually now go? And mom is a week now, it's a month now, and they're counting. My son actually is now best friends with the calendar. What month are we in now? What date is it now? We're going,
yeah,
okay? They will
yeah,
pray for God to heal the world so we can get back to. So they are anxious, okay? They have
yes,
anxiety going in within them. Some of them are not able to express it, depending on, because every child is different. But most of them are able to voice out and speak
yeah.
out like what's so that's
What's
anxiety.
happening?
Yeah, yes, that anxiety is taking effect on them.
Okay, that's good. Please continue.
Okay, so I was going to give us some just few steps on how to make these adjustments smooth for them. And I said we should have an open conversation. have an open conversation. I'm going to be picking these points. I noted them down so that I don't miss out on anything. Okay, so have an
Okay.
open conversation with your child. During this conversation, let your child know that you can work as a team. Let your child know that you are there for the child, to always figure out whatever is going on in his or her mind. And um, let your child also know that both of you can figure out whatever it is, okay,
Yes.
that would affect his learning. So if he's asking questions, let him know that you will always be there to um, answer him. For example, the children might, you might need to let them know that, okay, as you're going back to school, it's not business as usual. You will be required to put on a nose mask, okay, and then maybe
Yeah.
probably to the school gate, your hands will be sanitized, or you might be asked to wash your hands. They've not been doing this, and let us not take it for granted. And then let them also know that they're going to be checking their temperatures as well. So when the teacher
Mhm.
comes with an infrared thermometer, they shouldn't think, oh, Mr. Femi has a gun or something, you know. So time to have this discussion with them, it helps them adjust and feedback smoothly. Okay, mommy said this, and I'm saying it. So they're not using the first 10 minutes in class to wonder what went through before they got into
What's
class.
happening?
You understand? So when you have this conversation,
Yeah.
okay, my mommy said I'm going to have to wash my hands because of coronavirus. I'm going to have to put on a nose mask. I'm going to do this, and the teachers are going to check my temperature. So when that has happened, there's a smooth transition. Once the child gets into class, he knows that, okay, this is now a routine. Okay, this is now a
Yes.
so once lessons start, he's concentrating and he's not wandering. Okay,
Yes.
that's an example. Then you should also have a conversation with your child about greeting. Maybe before you used to run and give your friend a big hug, and even now the hug is supposed to be bigger because you've not seen yourself in a while. You can
Long time.
Yes, you can tell your child, oh, instead of giving the hug, why don't you greet with your elbow or with a knuckle greeting or something, maybe with your legs, but you don't hug anymore, you don't shake anymore. So you can even turn it to a fun game for them so that it's easy for them to, adjust. Then you can also tell
Exactly.
them, yeah, for those that might be uncomfortable with their nose masks, you might tell them, it makes you a superhero, okay, depending on the age of the child. And I'm sure it's
Yeah.
younger children find it uncomfortable anyway. The older ones understand why they have to put on the face mask. And then, it makes you look like a superhero. And if you let anybody take it off or touch you, your powers are reducing. Something that will just get them because they like to be in control. They like to feel like, okay, I'm doing something and this is worthwhile. Then always consider their age when you're having this conversation, okay? When you consider the age, break words down um, in a way they will understand. Let me stop there. Then, secondly, we have to re-establish and plan a routine. I said earlier before the lockdown, we had assembly time, okay, resumption time, assembly time, circle time, time for timetable for school, break time, lunch time, and everything. And a good number of children have fallen out of this routine. That's exactly what school does. School helps you to stay in check. And
Yes.
also in school, we have ground rules that keep us in check to make sure you are doing the right thing at the right time. So when the lockdown was announced
At
and
the right
children
time.
were home for a while, ask yourself, did the routine continue? Obviously, no. Or did you put up a form of routine for yourself in your home to feed the home? Most homes did not. So you have to start now to establish
Yeah.
another routine and plan it with the child. You understand? It's easier for them to follow when you plan together, when you make the rules together. Okay? So children who are going back to school
Okay.
for children who are going back to school, it might be easier for them to fall back. But I know that there's a particular age range of children who have not been permitted in some states in Nigeria to resume. They might continue with their online home.
To
Yes.
go back to
So
school.
this maintaining this routine is very,
Learning.
very important so that can have a structured part of the day because they are learning from the home. They can know that, okay, this time it's for learning, and then the other part of the day is flexible learning because learning can take place anywhere. All right. Um, let's go
Right.
to.
Right, let me say something, Ma, before you continue.
I'm with you. Go ahead.
Okay, so when you talked about the, I loved the way you talked about the use of face masks, right? So recently, I saw this picture online of a little boy that went to school and came back with a different face mask, right? So his mom was like, son, this was not the face mask you went to school with. And he said, oh, mommy, I changed it with that of Jimmy. Jimmy's own was more beautiful, right? So when I saw that, I burst into laughter. It was so hilarious. So I really love how you said we should explain to them that that makes them look like heroes, and also that wearing the face mask, that the face mask is a personal belonging,
Exactly.
right? I think if we are able to establish that, because young children have been taught personal belongings, their undies, their clothes, their personal belongings, their toothbrush. So we also teach them that this face mask that is a different part of their dressing is now a personal belonging. So I just wanted to chip that in. Please
Exactly.
continue.
Thank you for picking that. I'm sure someone will understand it better with the way you have even said it. Okay, let's go to the third point. I would say for you to help your child adjust smoothly back to school during this pandemic, because the pandemic is still on, you have to understand your child. Um, this break, or let me call it a break, or the lockdown, should have given you ample time or enough opportunity to spend time with your child. For parents that have been used to, blaming teachers, putting pressure on teachers about things, my child is not writing 1 to 1 million at age 2, my child is not reading the newspaper at age 1, yes, this this lockdown should have given us the opportunity to, bond and understand the child. What do I mean by understanding the child?
Our
Understanding
children.
the child is different, and that every child has a unique learning style. Okay, so when you
Yes.
understand that your
Yes,
child
ma'am.
has a learning style, it will help you to, understand that you are not, or it will help you to realize if you are pushing your own or forcing your own learning style on the child. Because when you take time to do that understanding, you understand that as adults, we also have our own
Yeah.
individual learning styles. So because I am a visual learner, doesn't mean I should keep
And
teaching my child visually and expect him to follow. So when you understand your child's learning style, you might now realize if there's
yeah.
any difficulties somewhere if you are teaching him using his learning style. Now, this is how it's going to help the child adjust. When you know your child's learning style and you realize any difficulty or no difficulty, it will help you to stay in touch with the school and with the child's teacher, which is the next point I'm going to talk about. When you know that my child learns better when he acts. Okay, first of all, let
Yeah.
me that we have uh,
Yeah.
recognized learning styles. We have the visual learning style, we have the auditory learning style, we have the kinesthetic or the tactile learning style, and then we have the read write learning style. So each child is unique, each child has a unique learning style. And then maybe your child is an auditory learner and he's sitting at the back of the class, or he last time he was sitting at the back of the class. If you understand that, by the time you get to school, you can explain, that, please, can he come closer so he can hear you? Because anything he hears, he doesn't forget. That helps the child just
Yeah.
better. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, if, for example, your child has a difficulty,
Yes, ma'am. Beautiful.
yeah, your child has a difficulty in any area, that will help you communicate better with the teacher. Oh, please, and understand that we are going to have shorter hours now. So parents will still be doing bulk of the work
Yeah.
because the teachers will have to follow with the government rules and make sure they send the children home. So they'll be
Of
coming in with
course.
a lot of work. So when you understand, you can actually help the child adjust
Yeah.
better. When the teacher is, okay, this is what we've done, this is this, you can help them and support them better at home. So understanding your child's learning style, learning difficulties, and even watching over him to make sure that he's not going through any form of abuse will help the child adjust better, because an
Yeah.
abused child will not adjust better. And because of the break we've had, a lot of children have gone through different forms of abuse: emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, and then so on, And then when they get back to school and they're like, oh, thank God, I'm free from that environment where the abuse was going on. So all the while, maybe when the teacher is teaching, the child is thinking, oh, good, I'm happy. The thing, and he's not concentrating. He's not coping with school. The child is withdrawn or depressed, and don't know, we are not conversant with what has happened in that environment. So this is very necessary for us
Yeah.
to understand the child, his learning styles, learning difficulties, and any form of abuse, physical and emotional, that the child has gone through that might disrupt learning when school starts. Because the pandemic is enough alone, okay?
Okay.
Yes, it's enough alone. So let's try to support the child in every other way. Okay, let me quickly go to the fourth measure we have to put in
Okay.
place.
So before you go to the next point, I want to say something, Ma.
Okay, hello,
Okay. So I really love this point, right? Because one of one of the missions of the Parents of Africa community is to also reach educators, right? So I really love that you talked about the parents collaborating with teachers, and in turn teachers collaborating with the children, because like you said, a lot of children have been abused and they're going to come back to school with a lot of heaviness that the teachers would need to help them process. So thank you so much for that point. That was beautiful.
you're welcome. Okay, so let's go to the fourth measure. Let's monitor now. Let's begin now to monitor and reduce screen time, television viewing, and then the use of social media. Okay. We can start now to provide alternatives for them. You can even start now to make them place calls to their teachers. Oh, school is coming back. We are getting to school. What do you can speak to the teachers before they get to speak with them. Tell the teacher to give them a warm welcome. Oh, I'm going to be happy to see you soon, even though we may not see again in the same class, but at least we are still in the same school. Then instead of cartoons and everything, get them educational activities they can watch, but reduce the screen time and gadget time. I would include gadgets, but if the school is a tech, let me use the word tech savvy school that teaches using gadgets, maybe interactive boards, they have laptops and everything where
Mm,
they do, it can continue, but censor what they do on those gadgets. Then those of them who are old enough to be on social media,
budget.
what they do. You can put parental controls, then you can even track them. Okay, you can also track what they are doing on their devices so that you are sure that they are not being deceived and distracted online. Then look for alternatives that would help them, you know, come back. Oh, the learning mode. Let me use the word learning mode. Children always feel empowered and control some aspects of their life. So when you take something out, you have to put something back to replace what you've taken out, so that it reduces the fear, or the fear of loss, that I can't do this.
Yeah.
So what should I do? You understand? So monitor their screen time now, reduce
Yes.
television now, and then go back to having conversations on when you have to do this. School is starting, you start getting prepared and everything, so that it doesn't come to them shock. All right, so I'll go to the fifth and the last. Stay in touch with your child's teacher and stay in touch with your child's school. Okay, I had a meeting earlier
Okay.
today with some parents, and I was asking them, okay, when is your child's school resuming? A lot of them did not know. I was like, okay, how have you been receiving information from the school? They said via email. Some of them said they had to go to the school via WhatsApp, text message. Okay, fine. This term is not a term for you to just send them to school and then maybe you get to work or you get back home and like, thank God, I have time to myself until 3 or 4 p.m. again. No, this is a get time for you to get more involved, because a lot of things are happening. Even the
Yeah.
teachers. I was with a school last week to address teachers, the emotional well-being. We had to address the fact that they felt schools and the government abandoned them and no pay and everything, so that they don't take it out on the
Yeah.
children. So if teachers have gone through some
Yeah,
emotional,
exactly.
yeah, effects too and
Emotional,
everything.
psychological,
So as a
mental.
parent, yeah, as a parent, it's left for you to stay in touch. Also, check up on the teacher. Oh, how are you doing? Especially now that they're going to new classes, they will have new teachers. You check up on them to check their emotional state, have conversations with them, so that you know if this teacher is fit and ready to be back to school. A proprietress called me last week and said, "No, I cannot work with these teachers again." And I said, why? She said, these teachers are going to take it out on the children that, that they were not paid and everything. And I said, okay, why did they not pay? She said, they couldn't hold online classes because parents were busy. They were not supporting. They couldn't do a lot of things. So she had to give them palliatives and she couldn't pay full salary. But some of them were still, know their tone and language. She said,
Mm.
no, if I leave these children and these teachers in the classroom, the children will suffer. So we had to put out vacancies last week and everything to, talk to, interview and recruit new
Wow.
teachers. Meanwhile, she sent those ones for counseling
More
and training.
people.
Because I permit me to just chip this in. This is not basically about educators
Please
or
do,
teachers.
ma.
Yeah, it's not basically about educators or teachers, but I happen to know a teacher um, who was affected by this pandemic. They started the online school, parents were not supporting, so the proprietress closed it down and told them to take care of themselves. She paid them March, she paid them April, and she couldn't again. And you won't blame her. This woman started a
Of course not.
business. She started a business, and the business at the end of August was paying her so well that she wasn't even sure she was going back to the classroom. Do you understand?
Wow.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
when you have a teacher who's feeling entitled, he would remain at a particular position. You won't even look for alternatives and you won't want to grow. So you can imagine such mindset working with children. So that is important for us as parents to stay in touch with
Yeah.
the school and your child's new teacher. Then we are also lucky to have a lot of resources around us now. Okay, so this is the time to locate the resources around you and take advantage of the online platforms that are offering free courses now for your children. You can use that to brush them up before school
Yeah.
starts. It will help you to adjust fast. Then, okay, find out if your school has sent any mail or text message or anything, if there's any message on resumption, find out the actual date so that you don't find yourself under pressure when
You're
school actually,
prepared.
yeah. Then connect with the owners of the school as well, reassure them. And then this is also a time for parents to be um, empathetic towards schools. So this is
Yeah.
not a time to
Yeah.
tell schools, I will pay you in 2 weeks' time, or I'll pay my fees in a month's time. We've had enough time to prepare and everything. So if you want your child not to be sent home, if you want your child's
Yeah.
learning not to be disrupted, if you want your child to adjust fast, it's wise as a parent for you to pay up immediately. It helps your child to settle into the school new calendar fast. Did you get
Yes,
me?
ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes, I
those,
did.
yeah,
Beautiful.
so yeah, those are the measures I would like to. I don't want to go further than this because I will start addressing teachers, and I know this is not a platform for educators now. But let me stop there. Thank you so much.
All right, that has been beautiful. So as we wrap up, I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions to wrap up the episode. But it has been wonderful. Thank you so much. So you said you wouldn't like to address educators, right? But there's no back to school without educators. So do you have any words for the educators? An educator listening to you wondering, do I go back? Do I not go back? Is this sector does this sector have a future for me? Right? I have a passion for children, but man, I can't go back. I need to go and make money. I wasn't paid. Teachers who are not mentally balanced, teachers who are not psychologically balanced. I know it's been a very trying time for the educational sector. What is your word of advice for them?
Okay, first of all, I'll say your mental health is your personal responsibility. Okay, you owe it to yourself as an educator to be in peace or to be at peace with yourself at all times. I'm an educator, okay? I'm a Montessori directress. I also work with schools, school management, and everything. So I was also affected. Okay, using myself as an example, I told myself I'm not going to
Yeah.
sit down and cry over non-payments and everything. So I took my training sessions online. So during the pandemic, I had classes monthly, and from those monthly classes, I got some personal classes for children and everything. And then I collaborated with other educators. Okay, I think there was a day I was so depressed. I actually had to reach out to all the school owners I had on my contact, and also called some teachers around me too. So most times,
Wow.
when you feel bad, reaching out to others, even in that state, makes you come back, feel
Yeah.
happy and normal again. That improved my mood at that moment.
That's
By the time I
good.
called them and we all talked about it and saw that, oh, we are all in this together, I felt better. But
Again.
taking up courses taking up courses during the lockdown helped me. I did some paid courses and some free courses online. I also gave out some training online to parents and teachers as well. And I had it because it's a passion. Most of the courses I did were actually free because I did not want to forget everything I had learned from what I know already. You understand? I didn't want to lose touch.
That you've
Yes, I
learned.
didn't want to lose touch with my passion. So I was like, oh,
Yes.
just come hear me out, okay? And I was very happy they got hooked. And so for teachers who are feeling, oh, of course it's a trying time, but I don't know why you are in the educational sector in the first place. If it's for the money, then you shouldn't even be there, because I don't know, the educational sector, we are not paid well, especially the private sector.
Yeah.
You are
That's
paid
true.
so much, yourself very comfortable. So if it's about money, then you shouldn't be here in the first place. But if you're passionate about it, I know even 5 months or 4 months without pay is very challenging. If you're passionate about it, you would have maybe looked for other measures. I have some side hustles. I don't want to mention that. I have
That's
some
true
side
on the
hustles
side. Yes.
bring in to bring in finance, but those hustles are not my passion. For example, if
Yeah.
I'm to choose between being in the classroom with children or staying at home to work with my children, I actually homeschool one of my child. He's a toddler now, and he's never been to the school outside. I'm homeschooling him, so it was an opportunity to even bond better with him. So if I'm to choose between being in the classroom and then making or doing some other things, and both of them are giving me money, I'll choose being in the classroom because it's a passion for me. So I would love to encourage educators, especially if you're passionate about it, if it's something you really want to do. You are not the only one.
About
We're
it.
all in this together. And then you as a teacher, I think you are even at a better advantage than the school owner, because most school owners are business people. They don't have the certificates you have. They don't even know how to teach. They are just management staff. But you as a teacher can or could have, because school is resuming already, could have started something online, because a lot of businesses went online during the pandemic. A lot of businesses
Yeah.
went online. A lot of
That's
schools went
true.
online. You understand? I have a colleague with the Temple School in Lagos. She has a WhatsApp platform where she teaches children. Okay, and then
Wow.
she started that during the pandemic as well, because she needed to engage herself, not necessarily because of the money. She needed to engage herself, and then she was happy seeing most of those children over and over again. So
Again.
not despair. Don't feel like the government abandoned us or the school owners abandoned us. The school owners were under the heat as well.
Yeah.
So
There was no
yes,
option.
yes. When we get back to school, let's go back, prepared, ready. Um, do not let this bring you down. Ready to, face the new challenge, because believe it or not, the children are going to be watching you. to know how this, to see the effects the pandemic is also having on you. And as role models to the
You
children, you would show them that you were over, the pandemic took over you, and then you lost your sense of
lost your
empathy,
essence.
passion, exactly. So I will encourage the teachers, stay strong. The worst is over already. We are alive. At least thank God for life. We survived.
That's
And
true.
for those of
That's the most
or those of
important
who
thing.
believe that there is nothing like COVID-19 or that there's no coronavirus, no, no, no. We need to we need to change our mentality. The worst
You
is
are in
over.
a
So yeah,
different WhatsApp.
yes, yes. So if you're alive today, you give thanks to God. That is thank God for life. You survived it. That's a virus killed a lot of people. It took a lot of people with it, but you are alive today.
Yes.
Hey, heavy. So
Right.
it's enough to be grateful for. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much. So as we wrap up, I would like to know, do you have any final words for us?
Okay. Um, I think I've said most of the things I want to say, but I would like to chip in that any feeling you have now is valid. Okay? If you're anxious, if you're happy to get back to school, if you're sad, they're all valid, but we should not let our feelings take control of us, okay? We should be in control of our feelings then. I would
Yeah.
also like to encourage the parents, this is not the time to be laid back about your child's education. This is the time more than ever for you to get involved. Get involved, okay, in whatever form. Don't say, I stopped in primary six. I don't know anything. That's why I'm sending them to school. Get involved. By getting involved, you're also schooling yourself, because by the time you ask the teachers questions over and over again, they're like, this parent is interested. This is how your child is supposed to do this and this. Then you will be able to help that child reinforce at home, and that's where your child will adjust
Yeah.
smoothly back to school.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. We had an amazing time. I hope you had an amazing time too.
Yes, thank you for having me, Precious. I had an amazing time. Thank you for bringing out all these ideas from my
Thank
head.
you.
They've been in my threads.
Thank you. Okay, so this is unofficial, but we would like to let you know that we'd love to have you time and time again in the parent of community. What do you think?
You're putting me on the spot. Okay, I'll say I'm very passionate about anything that is in the interest of the child, anything that has to do with the child. I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
If I'm free, if my schedule is free, why not?
Oh, I'm really excited to hear that. Thank you so much. And of course, we would consider your schedule. We'll reach out to you way ahead of time to ensure that it doesn't take out of your precious time.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right, so we'll be wrapping this up. Hey guys, I hope you've learned something. My notepad is filled. Mrs. Chidinma Obele Martins has taught us a lot and very amazing things I didn't think about, right? It was such an expository session. Remember that if you watch the replay, don't forget to write hashtag replay. And if you are yet to join the Parent Up community, where we'll have more impactful resource materials and sessions, webinars. Do not forget to tap on the link there. And if you have sent your request initially, we are tidying up some admin work and will allow everybody into the community at the same time. My name is Precious James Obona, signing out and saying thank you so much for listening. Be safe. Bye, Mrs. Chidima. See you on the back room.
Thank you.